extracting their pleasure or their happiness from something physical or something that they're putting in their body instead of through their own energy, creating that sense of fulfillment and abundance to actually feel or think what that feels like within their own body without even having to feed off of someone else.
If you require something that's physical to give you that satisfaction, what are you going to do if you don't have a physical body? And if you are, that's really what I see. So if you call it a demon or whatever, well, what happens when you do pass over, cross over, and you need a cigarette, but you haven't conquered that addiction, and you can't have one? So would that be a torment?
It could be possible that we are not the only ones that are plagued by those addictions and problems to feed off of others. It has been discussed by humans, Homo sapiens, the concept of us being plagued by demons and aided by angels, and our free will having a major level of try to actually put this completely to words because we're talking about things that are far beyond words. Free will dictating where we go from this point on. And I know where my free will has taken me. It's taken me to some beautiful areas, and it's also actually held me back. And so freedom comes with responsibility. It's the very thing, free will, our freedom to maintain this cage or set us free. I see this whole thing as being our own Frankenstein, to the point where talking about the New World Order is so important, but if you live in a city or you live in a world where people remain apathetic, it's their own Frankenstein. More and more, David, I hear from people that they're okay with this because, or they've been okay with certain things that have happened in the past because they were doing okay economically. Under that president, certain policies, you hear it a lot, don't you? Hey, things were better when Clinton was the president. Yeah, but they also deregulated the Glass-Steagall Act in the early 90s, so the banks create all these derivative bubbles. And so when we look at what's good for us, are we thinking short term, like right now, our way, right away at Burger King now with the drugged up beef burger, or are we thinking long term about not just ourselves, but the next generation?
That's the compromise that people make. And you mentioned actually, just talking and speaking freely. A lot of people don't speak freely and they won't state their opinion because they're afraid. They live in that fear bubble, and when they are in that fear bubble, they may have a job, they may be financially secure, but it's when you come out of that and you're not afraid of losing your job, you're not afraid because you know the truth. And I think that's really what it's all about, is facing your fears, because once you face your fear, there's really nothing there. It's just poof, it's gone. So
once you face your fear, things change.
Really nothing to fear.
Something changes energetically when you. I think a lot of people would benefit from taking the time out, some part of their day, to think about that which frightens them the most, and put it down on paper if you have to, but don't dwell on it, because the purpose of this is to burn that particular reality to non-existence. To see yourself in your mind's eye, conquering those demons, conquering those that came to take you to the executioner, that came to take you in the black van, and facing those almost like Neo from the Matrix energetically. They're not able to cross into your line. The point where it's not necessarily blocking bullets, it is like Morpheus said, not even having to block the bullets, and reaffirming through this matrix that we live in, law of attraction, that they don't have power over us, and that we, in fact, if some would perhaps to take it to the next level, are in fact hunting the demons and removing them the way a bouncer would remove someone unruly from a nightclub, letting them know this isn't your space, you need to go now. We have laws here. We have, or rules here in the club, laws of the universe pertaining to free will, where they, especially when we declare it, cannot interfere with our free will, cannot enter into our space. When we declare that we're aware of what they're doing and we're reaffirming that we choose to go to a higher order instead of stay stuck into the whatever deception that they have laid out for us.
I agree with the rules, and I do think that they have to proclaim and let you know. I mean, it's almost like it has to be written, and you notice on a lot of packaging, you'll see that this may cause cancer, warnings on the packaging themselves. And then the people who ingest it, they do make that choice. So it's like they choose to ingest it and to let it in. I think that's interesting.
Well, we got a couple more minutes here. I think this is one really important concept that I think we'll leave this on. So this is summer 2010, and we've got everybody and their dog making a prediction for all hell breaking loose pretty much before the year is over. But we've been through this before, but we also know it's within the realm of possibility, including the staging of World War III with China, Russia, and the United States. At the same time, we also know that there's so much that could be changed in your own local environment and communities, and that there are many people watching this program right now that don't want to fall into the abyss of becoming a part of the new zombie class that is fiercely, energetically surrounding the city or within the city. The Walking Dead, the zombies that aren't interested, the lack of eye contact, the skull and bones, obsession with death, branded on their bodies, the demon brand on their body, the skull and bones emblem on the stripper's panties.
Everywhere you look, it's everywhere.
It's even broadened in the sexual realm, the death and the warring, and we've talked greatly about that. So, I don't know what else to say here. We've got a couple minutes left, but I'll leave this conclusion in your hand as to what breaking out of the matrix means as these things unfold, as they start lighting up the dynamite all around our precious communities.
I think I got you. I think I know what the answer is. It's community, and it's to come together and to take the time to talk with your neighbor. Talk about, don't be afraid. You know, your neighbor, they might not want to hear what you have to say, but you at least have to try. And you might have just planted a seed. You can talk to the police, you know, let them know that accountability is not temporal, accountability is eternal. So no matter what they do, if they think that they're going to get away with murder, you're not, because it's eternal. Your accountability, there's no getting away with it. You're not getting away with anybody. You're not with anything. You're not fooling anybody.
You bumped into a cop recently, and you left him with that quote.
You know, I think it's good because I was actually afraid to speak to them, and I don't want to live in that fear-based reality. And the reality that I want to have is a reality where everyone comes together out of love and understands how important community is and appreciates everything that the police do for our community. And I do appreciate it, but at the same time, it's a very difficult job, so I don't even want to go into that situation. But I think that, you know, they are needed, and we need everyone. We need everyone to come together.
Exactly. Well, David, glad we took the time to talk about these things, and we'll talk about more at some other time in the future. See you later.